Okay, we'll begin our questions now, and we'll start with Mr. Osnick. I'm going to combine a couple of questions here. What unique qualifications will you bring to the City Council if elected? And describe your day job and how it has prepared you to deal with pressing issues such as job creation.
That's a tough one. What I see is my expertise is I was on the City Council. I was on the Planning Commission. I was a 4-year member of the Board of Supervisors. I do have a doctorate in public administration. My activities daily are with Friends of Roseville, put together a newsletter called Forefront. It comes out quarterly, and we have one that's in the mill right now that you should be getting by the end of this month. My expertise is writing and listening and taking all your concerns into account. Thank you.
Ms. Garcia?
Thank you. I think that my strengths are that I'm a good communicator, a good listener. I have knowledge, a history of the past of our city, and living here for a long time. And then also in the business community, working in Roseville in community banking for the past 32 years has given me a great exposure not only to our residents but our businesses. I work very closely with small to medium-sized businesses, so I have a good understanding of what our community needs are. And also working with other families that I've known over the years has been a real benefit to my work on the council. And also volunteering with nonprofits and working closely with the Roseville Chamber of Commerce and the business community in that realm has really been beneficial. And I feel that that experience qualifies me for the work on the council that I have been doing and that I want to continue to do. Thank you.
Ms. Gore?
In addition to living and working here in this community for over 15 years, one of the things I've been able to be a part of is a program called Leadership Roseville, which is a program the Chamber of Commerce puts together. And every year we educate local residents about the city, how it's run, the issues and the challenges that are taking place in our community. And it's been a great opportunity for me for the past 12 years to really understand the challenges with our community. So that's one thing that's helpful for me. As well as when I worked for a state legislator, I had the opportunity to really understand how to analyze legislation, bills that came before the legislature, and we have all sorts of complex issues coming before the City Council. We have to have people who are willing to really look at the issues, analyze those things, and make good decisions based on the data. I really enjoy working with groups of people. I built collaborations over the past 15 years with all sorts of people, like I mentioned, elected officials, business leaders, community leaders. And so I really understand the importance of forging relationships, building relationships, not only within the city, but amongst the region. Because as we know, there's so many issues, water and power, that really affect our region as a whole, that we have to work together with other local leaders to address.
Mr. Mendonça?
One of my strengths is I have the ability, just through my prior jobs and with my prior government affiliations, is an affinity to identify problems. I'm a very good problem solver. I can identify problems and kind of pick it apart and look at it from different ways. And I think that that's important, especially when you're looking at individuals that are on a city council and they're making decisions that are going to impact all of you. They're going to impact your property values. They're going to impact your day-to-day comings and goings. So I believe that that's a strength that I have. Being a former college chair, I'm very knowledgeable about different issues and problem solving. But I also think that one of the key things that I would bring that would make me unique would be just the fact that I'm not one to rush into a decision. I want to make sure that it's something that's going to be a long-term benefit, something that's not going to be detrimental to us long-term. So I guess my analytical would be the short answer would be what I would bring to the table. Thank you.
Ms. Rakucci?
I would say what I could offer to the community is the fact that I worked on almost all the specific plans that we've had here in Roseville, and all the issues that affect that is, again, with the water, the electricity, making sure that we have housing, also that we have jobs here for our community. I was instrumental being on council when we had the specific plan with the Galleria and having that going forward. Also with the Roseville Auto Mall, At that time, we got that going. Very important because it's a real strong tax base for us and where it brings in money to our community. I've had that opportunity. I've worked a lot on state and federal legislation, a lot on water issues. I've testified before water boards for this community and testified with businesses on water issues. And I bring that background to you. I'm very knowledgeable on water. For some reason, I just started to love it. And maybe it's because we drink it and it's good for us. But it's become something that is almost, I won't say second nature, but really a part of me. And I bring that to the table. I really like water and electricity. People look at me and say, what are you talking about? But you know, I like it, and it's important, and it's a necessity not only for Roseville, but Northern California. And I bring you that expertise.
Mr. Alvord?
Do you mind restating the question? I apologize. I know it was a two-part question.
A two-part question. What unique qualifications will you bring to the City Council if elected, and describe your day job and how it has prepared you to deal with pressing issues such as job creation?
Thank you. My unique qualifications are I'm the only business owner sitting up here. I've brought jobs to the community. I know how to bring jobs. I know how to do economic development. I've done that. I'm not just talking about it. It's something I've been doing and working on for a long time. I chaired a school board for 6 years out of the 11 years that I served on the board. I'm one of 2 candidates up here that have been uniquely endorsed by both the police and the fire. Public safety is in my blood. I was a fireman in college. My father was a cop. I understand the importance of public safety in our community, and especially in our economy, especially as they're doing the prison release. This is a very key thing. I know how to evaluate world-class companies. I've been trained. I'm a senior examiner, and I've served that way. And that also included local governments for prestigious awards. And I also have a very unique business angle. When I look at a project, I think about the return on investment. When I think about taxpayer dollars, I've got a lot of ideas that our city can implement to use those taxpayer dollars to help grow our economy. And I'd love to talk to you about those, and maybe I'll get an opportunity with the questions today. My day job, I run businesses, and I help other people run their businesses. I teach a lot of classes throughout the week to business owners, helping them learn how to interview, learn how to market their companies, learn how to write a paycheck properly. It's what I do. I'm about business, I'm about jobs, and that builds our economy. That brings tax revenue back to our city, and it provides all the services that we love and our nice quality of life.
Okay, for our next question, we'll begin with Ms. Garcia. Please tell us your opinions and position on pension reform and retiree health benefits.
Okay, on the pension reform, our city has not taken a position on that. We have not enforced the pension reform. We know that probably it's going to be signed by the governor, and that will probably go into effect the first of the year, which means that we will have a 2-tiered system of new employees, new hires coming in. We have not put that in. The city of Roseville has not put that into effect yet. As far as retiree health benefits, the city of Roseville has an obligation to pay the money that we have committed for that, and so we are looking right now at a five-year system in order to start paying that and catching up. When we had the downturn in the economy, the city of Roseville was not able to make their unfunded liability contribution. So at this point, we are looking at a 5-year plan and starting to repay that money back at this point.
Ms. Gore?
I understand that people are concerned about employee pensions and how high they are. That's a huge concern, not only in our local community, but throughout the state of California. And it is something that has to be addressed. And so I know the governor has put something forward, and it's a start. But at the same time, we have great employees that work really hard for us. And so it's a balance, and I understand that. I appreciate that our local employee unions have chosen to pay part of their PERS retirement and pay their fair share. I really admire those unions for stepping up and saying we're going to do our part, which is extremely important. And I want to make sure that we pay fair salaries, fair benefits. At the same time, we have to be fiscally responsible as a city council. We have to make sure that we pay the debts that we owe. We have to make sure that we pay the things that we promised employees in the past. And looking forward, we have to make sure we can afford the benefits and the pensions for our employees. It's a tough balancing act. No one enjoys saying no, but at the same time, tough decisions may have to be made if we want to make sure we are a fiscally responsible community and don't end up like a community like San Bernardino. Thank you.
Mr. Mendonça?
A lot of people, when they hear about pension reform, I hear this, so many times. Reform doesn't automatically equal elimination. I believe that we should not, cut things down to the point where it's hard to attract talent. We as a city, we should not overpay. We should not be an example of some of these cities that are running into a deficit because they are financially irresponsible with what they pay and how they pay and the pensions and the retirements that they have. But I believe that we should pay enough so that we attract the talent that we need to continue the lifestyle and the community feel that we have here in Roseville. I want to be fair with the compensation, but I don't want to be excessive. I don't want to create or be a part of a catalyst that continues just to throw money and money and money, and then 10 years from now, we have all these people making, hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not more, when we could have addressed this problem early on, reformed this, brought this more into check, taking into consideration what we bring in, what our tax liabilities are, how we're addressing, how we're paying, what our perks might be, what our different types of incentives paired with compensation. There's all kinds of different ways that we can look at this to reform it without cutting it down to the point where we can't get quality people to perform the work that we need to do. Thank you.
Ms. Rakucci?
What we're doing now is working with our employees and each of the different unions and the different groups and talking about the benefits and what we have to cut back. We're also looking at what the cost of health care is, because cost of health care is going up, and looking at different programs that are out there and what are the employees' needs and what, frankly, can the city afford now and into the future. And that's what we're doing right now. And I do thank all of our unions that have worked very hard and cut back to try to help us all balance the budget and do the right thing. And that's where we're at right now. We're working with the retirees, keeping them abreast of what's occurring. And if we make any other changes, we're including them so that they know what's going on. But we've been working on it the last few years and understand that what we do now is going to make a difference for the future. And then what our new employees are, we're going to be looking at a little bit of a different arrangement compared to what we have right now.
Mr. Alvord?
The City of Roseville is actually the third largest company in the City of Roseville. And that's a lot of jobs, and many of those jobs are union-based jobs. And that's a large number of our neighbors are union members. The tough thing about a bad economy is when the economy drops down, a lot of people look at the unions and they look at the pension reform, and that's a natural thing to point at. The cities you've heard that have gone bankrupt, it's typically not because of that, although that often gets blamed. The cities that are really having the financial problems are having the financial problems because they have a very high bond debt. And when the economy goes down, they go upside down on these bonds, and that's why they're going bankrupt. The City of Roseville doesn't have that. We have an extremely low bond debt. And so one of the ways of solving a lot of our pension reforms is to work on building up our economy, because when the economy is thriving, we can pay our bills without a problem. And that's what I'm going to be working on, is really trying to build up the economy.
Mr. Osnick?
In the Forefront newsletter, we reported on the former city manager, Craig Robinson. We indicated he was making $414,000 in pay and benefits. Today he's drawing $178,000 a year, every year for the rest of his life. There are 39 people who have retired from Roseville that are in the $100,000 club. We are circulating a petition to lower the salary of the manager confidential people. That will be one way to lower the pension. It's not an easy thing. People are very upset. They see themselves getting maybe $5,000, to $10,000 to $15,000 a year in retirement, and somebody else is getting 90, 100, 150,000. Two tiers. That's what's going to happen with Jerry Brown and his look at things. Vallejo's went broke. San Jose is gone down the tube. It's money, and people can't say that they have enough money to spike salaries, ending up with a high amount of retirement.